Parshas vayakehal pekudei tavshin pei gimel ish masmalavi ishma zachem yidalev v'shem afar so I'm going to try to dig as much as the time is going to allow me to give you the side of the Parasha. We're going to go through 3 phases. The first phase, I'm going to prove you through all the Gemaras, Mishnayos, that you are what you are since the day you're born, under the mazel you're born, you are walled up. There's nothing you can do to change. If it's a good mazel, then it's great. You're born under a great mazel. Every mazel is divided in 3. The head, the body, and the tail. The one who's born under the head, everything shines to him. Just put his hands turn into gold. The body, depending on the part of the body, the higher he is, so he's going to have most of his endeavors, he's going to be successful. Few one, he's going to fail. And as he goes toward the tail and Nebuch, the guy who's born in the tail, I don't want to describe you his life. Misery. You would think there would be a possibility to change that. We understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the world. We understand we are probably Gilgulim, and we come here for a tikkun. We understand that. On the other hand, we have to live our lives. And the same way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to give, as it's brought down in the only Makar that jumped to my head, it's in the Shulchan Aruch in Ilches Gerim, that we tell the Gerim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to give all the bounty to the Jews because they will go astray. They will not daven anymore. And they'll use their wealth they'll misuse their wealth, and they're going to lose the world to come, which is the whole purpose of this world here. Then I would like to turn at the table on this and say, Nebuch, the guy has a misery. The Gemara says in a Dorim that 4 people are considered dead. So what's the point of his life? How can we get, we can get all the goodness, but we can't get all the bad neither. How can these people get all the bad and nothing changes? Is there a path? Is there somewhere something we can do in order to change, but to truly change this? Not, I don't want to have, something, Zgula, maybe yes, maybe no, try and try. You want to have a path that's identified by the Torah, that's identified by the Zohar, by every level, from the Pshat all the way to the side, that this is the path. And this is the path to arrive to your goal and change your mazel, even though it's impossible to change the mazel. You hear that pleonasm here? It's not possible to change the mazel, but you can't change your mazel. That's going to be the share of today. Let's go into the psukim. What identifies Parasha in the Torah is the shulchan, the table. The shulchan in the Heichal, in the chamber, in the Mishkan, in the Beis HaMikdash, was placed to the north. So we had the Aron HaKodesh to the east. To the north, we had the shulchan. To the south, we had the menorah facing the shulchan. We all know we had from Hanukkah, from everything, the importance of the Ner, lighting the menorah is we drew the 370 lights that come from the Keser, and meaning all chesed. Over there, no sin can touch. I don't care who you are. You have done a deed that enabled you to access the Keser, you will get the lights. The lights are pure and cannot deal with someone impure. Oh, if they have to do that, these lights are so powerful, they will purify you. Really, that easy? Yes, they will. You mean, 1 second, it's not Yom Kippur today, right? I'm not talking about Yom Kippur. I'm talking about just any day when the Kohen lights the menorah. Correct. The 370 lights will come down. Let me explain you. This is a concept so important, and people do not understand the importance of this, that it happens every day when we say the bracha, Hanoisen lasechvi bina lehafchin ben yoim uven laila. At that time, open the heavens open, and the three lasechvi, when you say that word, which equals Purim, which is the same light that came for Purim, we didn't care what the Jews were. They needed to be saved in a miraculous way, and they were. What does it? I'm going to give you the secret at the beginning of the share today. In the 13 midas of Rachamim, 13 attributes of Rachamim in English, whatever, Rachamim it says. Mercy. We have
mercy.
Of mercy, you're right. Thank you. We have, it starts with the name Kel, right? So in Parshas Kisisa, when the Bnei Israel did the Egel, Moshe mentions the 13 midos that we say when Yavor Kel Rachum Vechanun Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed Ve'emes Noitzer Chesed LaLafim Noise Avan V'Fesha V'Chata'a V'Nakei. 13 midas. These are the 13 midas of the Keser. They come out what we call, to imagine, the beard of the Keser, not on the head, in the beard. Okay. So Kel, one, and Moshe Rabbeinu, by the time of the Meraglim, he only said Kel Rachum Bechanun, but he said only 9. So we have two types of attributes of mercy: the 13 one and the 9 one. The 9 one is obviously, because it's lower, it's coming from much lower, then it's missing some power. So when the upper one shines upon the lower one, it fills it up of 13 also, and it can shine on Bnei Israel. Kel comes out from here, that bone that connects the head and the beard. The second Kel comes from here, and they shine, and they're all chesed. Meaning, as I said before, that there's no questioning the person, his merits, whatever. Once a person did something, made a deed that's so incredible that touches the keser, pew, they start flowing on him, and whatever blemish he has, they'll correct it. Kel, if we write it in full, it's Aleph Lamed, as it is here by the temple. Right there, it's written Aleph Lamed. That's why we don't place, we can't shave with a razor. I'll explain one day the Indian of the razor. And we have a lower one, Aleph Lamed. Each one equals 185. Together, they equals 370. These are the 370 lights that were shining in Maaseh Bereshis when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. And these are the lights that are going to shine in order to revive the death, the Tchias HaMesim, at the time of the Mashiach. When we say Tal Techia, the dew of revival, the dew of revival is those lights, the two named Kel. So whenever you say next time the 13th attribute of mercy, the Midas of Rachmim, that now people know it, we can say it in Hebrew, you know that we know that these are the lights of life. This is what the neshama seeks. So you would think only that when we have the menorah, and which taps in these lights, you know, is probably the biggest thing we have in the Heichal. We'll need it later. It's the biggest, but now, by says the Shulchan, you'll make it in Atzei Shittim is how this word in English. I tell you, I am not really here, even though I look here. So it gives us the size, but you have to make it a border. So the Aaron had a border. The Mizbach HaZahav had a border. There, it's not a border. It's a border in the middle. And the Shulchan had a border, but the menorah didn't have a border. To embellish it, to show the keser on here. So menorah doesn't deserve that, right? But the menorah brings me the 370 lights that all life depends upon it. Okay, so when you place it in the Mishkan, you have a specific order HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Moshe Rabbeinu. V'samta sham es ar naidus. First, you enter the ar naidus, the east there. V'sakois al ares hakaperes, and you'll put the kaperes above. You'll cover the aron with the kaperes, with that paroiches there. V'heveisa es hashulchan. Again, the shulchan is going to precede the menorah. Not only in the Mishkan, when they got ordered to be built, it preceded the menorah. Now, even when we go out of respect, when we're going to enter them by importance, we're going to put the Shulchan second, right after the Aron HaKodesh. Then you're going to put the Lechem Apanim, because it can never stay empty, the Shulchan. As soon as he gets into the Mikdash, he has to have the 12 Lechem Apanim. Once you completed your Shulchan, the physical part of in the Mishkan, then you bring the menorah, which is the spiritual one. Should be the opposite. We are Jewish. We belong. Everything is spirituality that basically affects our physicality. It's not the opposite, but here in the Mishkan, I see a dysfunction. It should have never been that way. As we said, you give the Shulchan to the north. Michutz la paroiches. It can be inside the Kodesh HaKodashim, it's right outside, but it's close by to the Aron. How can you have the most sanctified thing that we have, which is the Aron HaKodesh? Next to it is really the opposite. The most physical thing, food, on the Shulchan. How can you connect me both? And the light, if you had asked any human, maybe even Moshe Rabbeinu, he would have told you, makes sense. Bring in the menorah second, but no. Then Vayasem es ha-menorah first, again Shulchan, then again menorah. And where is the menorah? It doesn't say it has to face the Aron HaKodesh. No, it has to face the shulchan, meaning the lights of the menorah. Just to give it to you, if this is the menorah and the shulchan was across from on my palm here, it had to be like this, sideways to the Aron, facing the shulchan. Goodness sake, how much respect can we give to something materialistic? It's not normal. The light should be the light for Hashem. The light should be the light for bringing the aura of the Torah and the light of the Keser together for Am Yisrael to give them all the blessings. No. Hashem says, you don't understand how things are working. The Shulchan. I want you to face the Shulchan. Not that we don't understand anything in what's going on in his psukim and the reason. Let's dig in understanding the person when it comes to this world, their astrology, their signs. These signs are depending, so on every hour, so there's 12 signs, 12 months in general, but they divide themselves and they combine themselves that every hour of the day, the sun changes. So depending when he's born, he will be affected by the type of muzzle he was born under. You all know the famous Shir Amalos we say on the table. Tarach lefanai shulchan neged tzeirai. David HaMelech says, set up before me a table against my enemies. That's why down to Hashem. Siman Chav Gimel. This is now Shir Amalos. That's the correct one. So set up a table against my enemies. Dishanta bashemen roishi. It's basically you dove on my head, you poured on my head oil, to refer also to the saint oil, to oint a king, whatever. But we will see, it makes no sense, this pasuk when you translate it. Koisi revaya. I wouldn't even know how to translate that word. What roots of verb it's coming, whatever. It's a made-up word. First of all, what it means to set a table against my enemies. How by the fact David HaMelech is asking food to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the fact I sit on my table, I'm fighting my enemies. Is there a correlation possible between you enjoying yourself with a good food and your enemies falling down without even you having to lift up a small finger? What is the connection between sitting down on the table and being anointed? David been anointed because he was chosen as king, not because he was sitting on a table. What does he refer to? And what's this koisi, my cup, revaya? Really had everybody translate revaya is full, is constantly full. I'll explain it by pshat and I'll explain it by sod. This pasuk. Hopefully we'll have time to get there. But obviously we see, I just wanted to bring that pasuk that it's a common minhag to say that mizmar on the table. And as soon as you look at the word, we just see, we're saying the mizmar, we had the minhag. But it's like a monkey saying something. If we don't understand what we're saying, where is the kavanah? We all know that by now, everyone in this shir knows that any mitzvah that's done as just an action, it remains in olam ma'asiyah, in the world of actions. It doesn't go up. Yes, you will have a little reward as it is in this world. But we need to bring it to the level above and above and above and above. And where is that? Depending on the thoughts. Because the thoughts access to Chokhmah, Bina, and Das. Chabad. But not these ones. It's Chokhmah, Bina, and Das. The three main that above, the seven below, and these are the Yudke. Of the Yudke Vavke, they represent the Yudke. And they're all in the head. They're all in the head. So how do we access there? How do I go to the shaman? How does I start opening? Because these are above. Remember what I said before, the 13 attributes come out of the beard of the Keser. But above this, above the beard is right there. You know, just as the beard starts here on the side, we have the Kel. But here, we have Hashem, Hashem, Hashem. Really, it says, when we say Vayavar, we say twice Hashem. Because as the Ari HaKadosh says, in the Kavanos of Vayavar, because only two are visible. The one on the right, the one on the left, here. You're still not on top, but you're still here already. And the third one, which is a Das, which is behind the head, we don't see. So really, there are three of them. Okay. Three. So before I'm above the 13 attributes of mercy, I have 3 times Hashem. 3 times Hashem equals 78, right? 78 equals lechem, bread. The bread on my table comes from that high. This is where I have to ask for the bread. I cannot change my mazal as we're going to see right now. But if you take mazala, as the Gemara is going to call it all the time, equals 78. What correlation all this has, and is that giving me a path to the table and to what I have to do? We're starting this year. Gemara says in Moed Katan, Chav Ches Amud Aleph, Bane Chaye Mezoine. Everything a person needs in his life is included in these 3 words. Children and healthy, mazel. Chaye, life, no sickness, no hardship. Chaye, it's Chaim. Mezoine, Parnasa. No digdukianiyas, no difficulty, no worry how to pay the next bill and everything. Bane Chaye Mezoine. Bane Chaye Mezoine equals 203. You remember the Avos, every time they went somewhere, they encountered a well. Well in Hebrew is Be'er. So the Be'er Elyon has all these brachas inside. Bane equals Be'er equals 203. Why is he called Be'er 203? Because he has inside 3 things. Bane Chaye Mezoine. So there is a well with all the bracha. How do I tap in? The Gemara is going to tell you, love bischusa talya milsa. It doesn't depend on your merits. Eila bemazala talya milsa. It depends on your mazel. You can have access to the be'er. The water, maybe it's too deep for you, and you have no kli to draw the water. Too bad. You were born on the wrong mazel. I'm going to get schusim, won't help. That won't change your mazel. Clearly. Just want to point out, whenever the Gemara is going to say now, we're going to see the word mazal. Never in Hebrew, mazal. Even though the Gemara is going to talk, some Gemaras are going to be in using Lashon HaKodesh, but they're not going to use that word in Lashon HaKodesh. They're going to use in Aramaic, mazala. And keep on the side of the head, mazala, 78, lechem, 3 times Yudke Vavke. We have a base. The Gemara brings a story and says, you know, I'll prove it to you. Rabbah and Rav Chizda were 2 big tzaddikim that whenever they daven for the rain was coming down. So you can see both were answered from Shamayim, but they were the 2 extreme of the spectrum. Rav Chisda was very rich, and even his dogs were fed with fine white flour. This means for them, they didn't care. That was not, they were so rich that for them, that was nothing. By Rabbi in his house, you couldn't even find bread, barley bread, I mean black bread, low quality bread. You couldn't even find that. You wonder, Rabbi is such a big tzaddik. One on Hidaven, he can daven for the rain, which is somewhere around there, because this is the shefa that comes down. Why did he change his muzzle? Obviously, the conclusion of the Gemara is true, that Bane Chayim Mezoine, a person cannot change his muzzle. Whatever, when on the day you were born, it's sealed who and how you're going to live your life. Gemara in Shabbos brings a machlokes. Rabbi Chanina says, Mazel machkim, Chochma depends on mazel. You were born, someone is born dumb, that's his mazel, he's going to die like this. That's the mazel. Mazel mashir, if he's rich, it's because he was born under a good mazel. As I explained before, the 3/3 of the mazel. And if he's not rich, then it's a mazel. V'yesh mazel leIsrael. And Israel have a mazel. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, there's no mazel to Bnei Israel. Why? Because he says, go out and see the goyim that fear the mazalas. He deducts from this pasuk, they fear the mazalas, but us, we don't fear them because we don't depend on them. The goyim, their life is registered, not registered, what do you call, controlled by the astrology, but the Jews not. And Rav brings another proof. Vayoytze oiso yachutza, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avram, he took him out. So the Midrash says there, what do you mean he took him out? The Gemara says the same thing. He took him out of his astrology because Avram was turning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I saw in the astrology, Avram cannot have children. So the Zohar explained, yes, Avram cannot have children, it's true. But Avraham with the hay, which is the Chamisha Chumshe Torah, Bischus the Torah, he can have children. You see right away, this Gemara antagonizes the previous one. It says, even with the schus, meaning any good schus, even the Torah cannot help you. Here, this Gemara seems to say that Avram deserved a son, even though Bane Chaye Mezoine depend on the mazel. If you're missing one because of your mazel, you're not going to get it. But he was missing Bane, he didn't have children. But now you see that with the Torah, Chamisha Chumshe Torah, the Zohar says this, another Gemara says this. Gemara in Kiddushin brings down Rabbi Meir, Dalet Yudalet, Mishnah Perek Dalet, Mishnah Yudalet. Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir Balanes says, a person should always teach his children a trade, a light trade, and they should not worry because there's no trade that has no poor and rich. It's not the trade that makes someone poor or rich. A person should ask Rachamim, pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do you understand from here? That now all of a sudden tefillah can work. That's what Rabbi Meir says. He has to daven lemisha ashiru shaloi. I had to daven to the owner of the wealth, and he'll give it to me. On the other hand, Tosfos says no. Yes, you need a huge schus, but it still depends on the mazel. So they're combining you both. I don't want to lose you somewhere because of this question, but it's blocks against block, Gemara against Gemara, Midrash against Midrash, and Zohar mixed up in the middle. We see, I think I made a point here already, that we see from one side Tanaim Amoraim says, but we see Rava, that some say not even a schus, not nothing. The way it is at birth, that's the way it's going to remain for life. Some say no. With a schus, it can change. Some say with tefillah, it can change. But we have such a machlokes, we can't make a way here. If there is a mazel and we under the mazel of Bnei Israel, okay, fine. Let it be. But let us know clearly. We can't start believing that there is no mazel, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's part of the mazel. You need the huge schus. You need, so what is a huge schus? What is a small schus? How much part the mazel has? You can create building block with this and start understanding. So for me, the Readfall also learns like this, that you have, you know, it's a combination of schus and mazel together. And that's how I explain it, Gemara in Shabbos, but I think we have a good picture. I just want to bring a last Gemara here. The Gemara in Tanis has a little story. Rabbi Elazar ben Pidas, he was very poor. And one day he had to make his dam, in English, I should have thought about that word, let out blood. But he was so poor that he had nothing to eat. Because it's a sakana, it's brought in halakha, it's a sakana to let out blood and not eat something afterwards. So he let out blood and he had nothing to eat. He only found a piece of onion, which he ate, and he fainted. Chachamim rushed to his side to see, you know, how he was. And they see that he was smiling and crying. So they understood something is going on. Let's not disturb him. When he woke up, Chachamim asked him, why were you crying and why were you smiling at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. He explained them that I was with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I told him, how long should I live with this tsar? How long do I have to live in that pain of poverty? I can't anymore. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me, my son, you're so dear to me that if you want, I'll destroy this world and I'll recreate a new world, and I'll make sure that you're born under a good mazel. I'm scratching my head. To that point, the Gemara says it's impossible to change a mazel. That in order for Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas to turn into a wealthy man, it would take the destruction of this world plus the creation of a new world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously making sure that he would born at the right time under the right mazel. So he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so much no. Don't want to destroy and have people killed because of me. So he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how long did the year I lived are more than the year I have left to live? And he told me yes. Meaning I have less year to live than the year I lived already. And for that, he says, I was crying. So it comes out, I mean, if we want to summarize it, sum it up, that a person get afflicted by the mazel he was born under. There is an impact. There's nothing we can do. We can be saved from it. This is who we are. If you were born with blue eyes, you cannot make brown. If you were born with brown, you cannot make them blue. And so forth. If you're 5'6", you cannot make yourself 6'3". And if you're 6'3", you cannot go down to 5'6". You know, the world is what it is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created with his Chochmah Elyona, with a tremendous Chochmah, and that's the way it is. The Gra says, no, you're misunderstanding everything here. All what we translated in the Gemaras, and apologize for getting your moral in your socks, but it won't last there very long. I'll trust me. It will shoot up soon, very soon. Says the mazel we're talking to the Bnei Israel, that there is a mazel. Obviously, not all the Gemaras are going to go along with that, but he says lehalacha is the what we call the mazala ila'a, the upper mazalas that control the astrology. Who are they? The 13 attributes of mercy. Bnei Israel, each one of us has a midah, and he was born under a certain attribute. However, these attributes we can access all the time. Astrology has zero effect on a Jew, says the guy. And he's not only the guy. I was trying to remember the Zohar in Truma also says that Bnei Israel, when we say about Mazala, Mazal is the one under. Mazala is when we refer to the 13 attributes. That's why now we understand Mazala is 3 times Yud Kei Vav Kei, because we're talking about the higher attributes. And these attributes we're going to see in the Zohar, they are bringing the bracha, but yes, they channel it down through the mazalas, but it's not the mazalas that going to give you because of the hour you were born under or so forth. They're going to give you whatever. They're only going to play as a vehicle between the attribute of mercy and you. That's what it is. If we take the word mazal, mazal equals 77. All the mazalas, you see, everything is round in this world and turns around. It's the galgal. We call it the wheel. There is an upper wheel. You remember in the Shira, when Bnei Israel came out of Mitzrayim, it talks about the wheel of the chariots of Paro. Es oifan markevoisav, the wheel of the chariots. Who says that? It's Daria Kodesh in Lupita Torah, and I remember. So he asked a question. It has to be the wheels of Fanei Markevoisav, because at least a chariot has 2 wheels. A cart has 4 wheels. And there were so many of them, you should have said it in plural. And he says, Oifan equals 131, like Samael, like the Satan, the name of the Satan. When we refer to the wheel in this world, the wheel is the Satan that makes astrology. And to this one sends bad, and to this one, he cannot because of whatever. But when we refer to the Galgal, this wheel where the mazalas are attached, this is his world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses him as a stick, and he sends to people whatever their action, their deeds deserve, period. So when you take Mazal equals 11 more, because Galgal equals 66, Mazal equals 77. The difference is 11. Vav, hey. When you do a mitzvah, we spoke about it already before, the only letters that appears from the name of Hashem is Vav, hey, the last 2 letters. The first 2 letters are hidden, Matz. Matz says the Zohar in the Tikkunim, in Atpash equals Yud K. If you replace Yud, but you go from the 2 extremes, you take the first one and the last one, replace them. the second and the one before last replaced. Then, so Yud would be replaced by Mem. Hey would be replaced by Tzadik. This is what mitzvah makes. Mitzvah is Yud-K, Vav-K, but the Yud-K is inaccessible through the mitzvah. So only the Vav-Hey. So when you do a mitzvah, you elevate yourself already. It's enough to elevate yourself to the mazel that will control the galgal, the wheel. And you're going to make the wheel go at the pace and dance at the music you want. I'm going to get a little bit naughty here, but I would like, I'm not going to lose you. I'm going to say it simply as possible. And let's see how I kind of come out, because this is how I'm going to prove you the ladder going to the 13 attributes of mercy. So same thing we have. Solar year equals 365 days. Lunar year, 354 days. Vav-Hey. How do I access the sun, which is Kudsha Berichu, that shines upon the Levana, that's the Malchus, through the Vav-Hey? When you are Mekayem, when you accomplish something that has the Vav-Hey inside, it gives you a power to elevate you above the wheel. And you can control that wheel. Now, if we do 13 times Galgal, which is 13 times 66, because the wheel controlled every mazel, equals 726. I want to avoid you the hard part. Equals Rachum vechanun erech apayim. You access right away the 4 midas that control the mazel. By accomplishing a simple mitzvah, you have intent, you know you're going to do a mitzvah, you're thinking about your mitzvah, you have a machshava in the mitzvah, so you will elevate the letters you're going to create with your mitzvah. Right away, you're accessing Rachum vechanun. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is misericordious and has, it's almost the same thing. Erech apayim. 2 more midas, 4 midas, and these 4 midas are going to put in your hand. They're going to control for you the whole galgal of the astrology. Great. Says, we haven't been going over it because this is a very deep sefer, very, Megala Amukas brings him, the Komana, you find it bring him, it's tremendous sefer. The Bris Kehunas Oilam from Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Mikaritz, died very young, 37 years old, I think he was. When he was 12 years old, he received a smicha for Dayanus. At Bar Mitzvah, he was a Pesach. He was a Rav already. Talking about things I can't even describe myself. How can a kid? They were asking, he was writing chuvas. People, Rabbanim, were asking him shilas. He was Bar Mitzvah. It was not, this is a level of Kedusha that it's very hard to understand, and special connection to Shamayim. 12 years old to be a dying fool. And who did he receive? Who did he receive a smicha from? I forgot. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable who gave him the smicha. He must have been There's nothing he didn't know by heart. With everything, he got the smicha. Forgot that. With Spector? Don't remember. Anyway, he explains one thing, that and this is something we have, the Ari HaKadosh also goes in, brings it in the Tachnun. When we say Mazala, it's really called Mazal Aleph. That's what it is. The Mazal itself, we don't care about it. We want to tap in, as we say, because Aleph is Pele, because when you write Aleph like this, if I invert the letters, equals Pele. So Aleph is, we call it Aluf. Rabbi Akiva in his Midrash, Oisias Rabbi Akiva calls it Alufoi Shel Oilam. That's why when we say, we add usually an Aleph in Gematrias, it means Hashem is there. If you look, if you dig in, you see that there's an extra Aleph to add, because it was done by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is Alufo Shel Oilam. And if we take the writing Aleph, which is also Elef, the same thing, this equals 1001 equals Yiras Shamayim equals 13 times Mazel. Here's again our above. Here's the 13 attributes how you get with Yiras, true Yiras Shamayim, a person access 13 times 77 equals 1001. Yiras Shamayim. However, we asked, so you're going to ask me, is it possible that Rabbi Chaz B'Shalom or Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas is talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he has no Yiras Shamayim? Okay, for us, we see that we have a path which is called Yiras Shamayim, and we can control the Mazalis, and whatever they had at our birth, we can change it. But is it possible that this Rabbi and Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas were lacking Yiras Shamayim? No, this is a different midah. This is the midah of Mesirus Nefesh. And this midah of Mesirus Nefesh, Min HaKadosh Baruch Hu want them to work, to serve him that way. Not everybody is capable. Just to know what, I don't need to go into this, this inyan of Mesirus Nefesh. I want to come up now to start giving you the real reason we're here around this year. These are beautiful concepts. These are tremendous things, but extremely hard to achieve. And every time you're going to feel that maybe I didn't achieve it right. Maybe I didn't do this right. We need something with simple people. We need something that will give it to us clear, without questions, without having any doubt, without, being too difficult. Zohar in Parshas Truma says there are two types of tables. The table on which Divrei Torah was said, and the table on which no Divrei Torah was said, only Dvarim Betelim and Litzanos. He says on the second one, it's also to say Birkas Hamazon on that table. Because on that table, the Satan and his wife, the two snakes are right there. And they're disgusting. It's like just being in a place, in a toilet, the same way. And if you think I exaggerate, you're going to see the pasuk that Zohar brings. And it's a pasuk in Yeshaya, and we'll see. When a person says divrei Torah on his table, he sanctifies the table. The table is the Malchus. The table represents the Shechina. It comes to the person. When the person has food on the table, in every single one of the food presented to him, there is a nitzos, a sparkle of Kedusha that fell into materialistic world. No, that's not the right word. Into the physical world, into the Gashmistic world, into the Olam Asiya, and only that person can free. The Riyah Kodesh says, if that person doesn't free it properly and elevate it, this nefesh, this soul that was inside, will suffer and basically go down the wrong path, put it that way. How much a person is obligated, and the more a person has thoughts when he eats, that he has before him tikkunim, at that point, because he elevates these neshamis will elevate him. There is a special access to a special kedusha that cannot be done without, through any other mitzvah besides the table. And that's a holy, holy access to. Let me go to philosophy for a second. When a baby is born, he whines when he wants to eat. And it becomes a habit that if he's hungry, people owe him to feed him. As he grows, he realizes nobody owes him nothing, and he will have to work for his own food. That's the concept of life. Would you give someone that came out of rehab, a drug addict that come out of rehab, would you tell him to go take a dose because he has to do a certain mitzvah? No, he's going to fall right back in. When a person is in front of the table, he goes back all the way. Here's the baby again. He's going to feed himself. He's going to enjoy himself. But now the purpose we eat, we don't realize it's not the same purpose as we ate when we were a kid without das. But still, where is the shulchan in the mikdash? In the north. Where is the north? The place where the Nachash lives. Mitzafa in Tavo Hara. Even by the Mashiach, from the north will come the bad. All Ra comes from the north. Whenever the Torah uses Ra, it means erva. It means immorality. So where is it from? So you tell a person right now, not only take a dose, but go to the same place you used to dig when you used to shoot yourself up, and there you need to shoot yourself. That's very dangerous. How can you expose a person to such a danger? So now right away, my table takes a totally different meaning. I know the Shechina, it's going to turn into a Mizbeach, as we're going to see. Mizbeach equals 57, like zon, it feeds. It's not me feeding the table. The table is going to feed me. Meaning that the schus of the food that I have in my house comes only through the table. The food, I bought it. To buy it, I needed money. I got money through this. So you mean you're telling me the table is basically the button for my parnasa? Yes, it is. If it's difficult, well, the table doesn't belong to the normal path with mazel and whatever it says. The table has its own path. The same way tshuva has a different path to Hashem and goes directly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the table has a direct path. Yay, you can say you have a mazel, you don't have a mazel, you have astrology, you don't have astrology. You have your table, right? So let's see. So now we tell you to go the most dangerous place and to do the most dangerous act. That's going to take you back to the wrong fold you have, that you're a receiver. But as you grow up, you see life is only for one purpose, to be a giver, to resemble HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to be having only one thing, to give. If I have, I can share, I can give. Tomorrow, we don't think about tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist. We don't even know if it's going to come. Yesterday, it's dead. Means, oh, don't build your experience on what happened. No, because your shulchan was not up to the level. What makes a shulchan? The Zohar says the shulchan gives you three things. He gives you parnasa. Moreover, he gives you kaparas avoinos. He doesn't say mechila. You know, when we say al chet in Yom Kippur, we say selach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. So we go gradually to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. First, we ask for slicha. We ask for, I'm sorry. Okay. So delay the punishment or dilute the punishment. Mechal. Okay, take it off my back. Wipe it off my back. But the bad deeds still exist. Whatever damage you did to the Shechina is still there. But you are not responsible anymore, meaning we cut the umbilical cord between you and the Chet. But Kaper, it's wiped out. What we say in Yom Kippur, Ki ba'yoim hazeh, on that day, yechaper aleichem. He will more than forgive. It's the forgiveness where even the damage created is wiped out. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts back in place as before the chet that the person did. Whenever you sit on your table, it's Yom Kippur. But I'm sorry, in much bigger. It's a Purim-like kind of situation which supersedes Yom Kippur. Because when a person says Divrei Torah, what he does a tikkun to the Shechina. And what is the Shechina going to do? Now the Shechina was beautified with the Divrei Torah. She takes them and she goes up. She grows and she goes up face to face with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And at that point, it's called the Yichud. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Zohar says, ask the Shechina. Who helped you? This is this one guy there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you have helped the Shechina. When it becomes its turn, the Shechina will help you. When is it? Olam Haba. Whoa. Olam Haba. I'm glad to have my Parasha already, I'm fine. If through the Shulchan I can have my Parasha by behaving Bigdusha and Tahara on the Shulchan, and by saying Divrei Torah and not saying Dvarim Betelim and Leitzanus, if I'm going to get to this. I think I need to spend 2 minutes on this, what he does. So we'll understand. Achila equals 66, like the Galgal. There is my Shesia. I'm going to tell you in a second. I need to go to share a page. I just want to finish this part. When I'm on my Shulchan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, the Shechina prepares a table for that person in Olam Haba. Not only that person deserves to go to Olam Haba, he could have not had a table, okay. Anyway, with my deeds, I cannot enter Olam Haba. But since my mitzvah was to behave on the table, I enter Olam Haba. Where are my sins? Oh, the table took care of them. They're gone. What do I get in return? A table in Olam Haba. Full table, 1 second. Fully loaded. So the Zohar, what kind of food for the neshama? It's the man that was which is light, the 370 lights from the kel here and the kel here. These are the lights that the neshamas need and feeding the malachim and feeding this neshama. Meaning, not only you're in Gan Eden, not only you can see the lights, but no, they shine directly upon you. What magic can be on a piece of wood that has 4 legs and putting food on it and call me this a mizbeach? Where's the offering? It's a mizbeach. Where's the offering? The offering is the neshamas and the nefashas in the food you eat and you take them out. This is the offering. What is the mizbeach does? Is mechaper. The shulchan, this is how the shulchan is mechaper. How is bringing me parnasa? The shulchan is a vehicle, you can see, can give to the person access to the 370 lights. Those 370 holy lights that come out from the beard of the keser, and I know you don't understand when I say keser and beard together, but it's a full body. Keser also has 10. Each Chokhmah has 10 spheres. Bina has also 10, and 10 of 10, and 10 of 10. And also when I say keser has also a face, it has. It's called Arichan Pin. It's called Atik Yoimid. So anyway, I'm using simple terms today to try, because the message is not to tell you what the partsufim, the faces on top are. It's to tell you such a simple mitzvah that's going to give you this world, next world, doesn't care about any mazel, blows up everything. Doesn't care about a schus, no schusim, what you did, what didn't you do. Well, these lights have to shine upon you. They can't shine. You're on your table, you said vatera. The table draws them. Where is the shulchan drawing them from? From the menorah. That's why it has to be facing the shulchan. Because the shulchan cannot draw the lights directly. It's materialistic. But the purpose of the menorah to draw them in Beis Hamikdash is so the shulchan can use them. Okay, what does he do with them? He puts them into the lechem. They circle back. Lechem, which is a 3 times Yud Ke Vav Ke, it goes into the lechem, meaning the bracha goes into the food. That's why a person should never remove the bread from his table before Birkas HaMazon. We always have to leave the shiraim on the table for the bracha when we bench, and the bracha comes down with the 370 lights, which is then the sgula, the parnasa b'shefa, not only parnasa in this world, but parnasa in the next world is coming. At that point, you need to have something the same way that there was supposed to be always bread on the shulchan in the Beis Hamikdash, so lechem hapanim, and that's why it's called also lechem hapanim. What do you mean? The face bread faces. This is the bread that enables the Shechina. First of all, it's the proof that the 370 lights shines and the bracha is here. It was remaining hot from one Shabbos to the other. The second miracle that was happening with it, anyone that was eating just a little piece of it, he was completely satisfied. Miracle. This is the bracha. He was curing a person. He had any sickness, would be gone. 370 lights. Oh, we don't have it today anymore. I wish we had it, because then we could do the same mitzvah. First of all, sorry, it was only Kohanim in the Beis Hamikdash, but you do have it. in your dining room, whenever you sit on the table, exactly this happens. Your table will draw, if you say to the least a capital of Tehillim, if you say Edvat Torah, then you have Parnasa, Parasha Voinois, and a table. So, but I'm not done, because it's not done. It has a tremendous arichus on all the benefits that this table has. Comes a malach from the Heichal of Ahava. In fact, if I could give a shir, just explaining you this Heichal and what is this malach doing and how does he work with the names of Ahava. And what's you're turning Hashem into Oyev, you're turning, even though your deeds turn Hashem as not looking toward you, but your behavior on a table to turn Hashem like loving you. That much. It's not just I'm getting everything. Hashem loves me by your table. Then you have the next world. So people, according to their deeds, there are two Olam Haba. There's one Olam Haba in the Malchus, which is in the Olam Haberia, where most people go, and during the week, you stay there, and on Shabbos, the Tiferes goes down like a pole, and people go up, the Neshamas go up to the Olam Haba Elyon in the Bina. And there, whoa, what happens? And when it's Motzei Shabbos, time to go back down. And this is suffering for the Neshamas. Once they have tasted this direct light from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, going back down is difficult. However, the person who respects his table and behave bigdusha v'tahara on his table, doesn't come in shorts, doesn't eat with short sleeves, comes bekovedik, on his table, and make sure to talk about the Torah and everything. His table takes him not in the lower Olam Haba, because his deeds wouldn't even put him there. No, in the upper one, like the tzaddikim. And he has a table loaded like the tzaddikim. It's amazing. We don't understand, right? We need to explain this. A person does two things on his table. Achila equals Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. I said Galgal, but also Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. Shesiya with the Koilo, with Hashem, the Aleph, I'm going to put it this way like this, equals 716. Especially when a person drinks. He doesn't drink to enjoy it. He wants to have one. He drinks in order to be able to elevate whatever. And that's why the mitzvah of Purim is in Shesiya. This is Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, together with Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. In other words, it's Amen in full. Amen is 91. Yud Ke Vav Ke. Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. But the communion is full. That's what you do on the table. On the Achila, the Malchus, the Shechina is here. That's what you deal with on the table. The Shechina tells you, in the food, I'm lacking those nitzoitzos. I'm lacking these people have felt they've been punished, gilgulim, whatever you want to call them, for very long. It's time to repair them and to get them back to me, Knesset Yisrael, which is all the neshamas comes from the yesod of the Shechina. Give them back to me, these neshamas. The simcha, the the Shekhinah is so tremendous at that point that she elevates itself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then two malachim come down, because we're not done. No, like it's not enough what the Shulchan does. Two malachim come down. And they look at him, they look at the Torah, the words of Torah that were said on this table, and they give him a bracha of Parasha and never to miss nothing. And the second one says, in this world and next world. Okay. Why? Now we understand. You went to the danger zone. You went to the belly of the Nachash. I'll show you this in Shemus, how it works. It's tremendous. But you went to the belly of the Nachash, to the north. But what's in the north also? Safen Zahav Ya'asa. The wealth is in the north. The Nachash uses the wealth to entice the people. And they fall for it. But through the Shulchan, you can get it without even having to endanger yourself. You're only endangering yourself for the Shekhinah because you're eating, so you're tempted to go back to your habits. No, and then you have a Mesiras Nefesh. You go above. And you say, my kavana when eating is for the Shekhinah to be mesaken the Shekhinah. And then everything will come. Now, what's on the other side? And I want to finish on this. On the other side, the Pasuk says in Yeshaya, Ki chol shulchanois, all the table, mol'u ki, they were full of vomit, soya, and excrements. Beli makom, there was no place left. Says the Zohar HaKodesh, who is ki, who is vomit? It's the male, Satan, the male Nachash. Who is the excrement? Is the female. They're right there, and you just fell in the trap, and now you're belonging to them. There's nothing you can do. Now they're allowed to punish you. They're allowed to and what do? They play the yo-yo with your partner, with the person's parnasa. And the person, and beli makom, there's no room. They fill up the table. On the other hand, beli makom, Makom, we know that the name Makom is HaKadosh Baruch Hu all the time. Makom equals 186. If you take Yud times Yud, Hey times Hey, Vav times Vav, Hey times Hey equals 186. What does he mean when we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu Makom? I explained you once already, maybe many times. When the letter clashes among themselves, they make light. When we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu Makom, is a time when he shines to give a light. So you were on the table, you were able to get from the Keser, the Yudke Vavke in the Keser, you were able to get the light, but no, you decided, sorry, not interested. All the brachas we mentioned before, sorry, not interested. You understand the punishment. This is a kfira. This is zivche mesim, is oived aveda zara. Now look back here. $7.16 equals also Nachash. You have one way or the other, but at the two extremes. The Shekhinah is here for a ticket. You decided you're not interested in the light. Very good. So the key and the tzoya are coming to your table and taking over. However, you're interested in behaving. You're interested in saying Dvar Torah. You're interested in having Olam Haba and a table in Olam Haba Elyon. What's your behavior? on the table. Now, to finish, where is the table getting this power? Okay, we said access that when you had the menorah, I understand you pulled the earth from the menorah, you had the lechem apanim, it was obvious. But here, today, where is the table accessing all these powers? Listen well to these words. A person should never remove from his Shabbos table the chalois, the entire Shabbos. They are the one on Shabbos getting the lights, because the Shekhinah goes up and brings down the 370 lights. Where do they go? Into the chalois. Whatever bread there is on the table should be remaining 3 seudos on the table. They should not be removed at any time, because there are 3 levels how the shefa is coming down. And these are the 3 seudos of Shabbos. And the last one is the Shekhinah. So, talking to myself right here, because I don't do much of Shalosh Seudos, but this taught me a lesson, and no matter how old you are and what you seem to know, but you know, even though there's a different way, but the Zohar was so adamant, it says it's a begam in the Shekhinah. Basically, the bracha, you were able, because you did right the first 2 seudos, you're not doing the third one, the shefa is blocked over there. You don't enable the Shekhinah to basically unload all the shefa that you've been adding, you know, with your previous 2 seudos on the table, and then the table has no power for the entire week, says the Zohar. Because the unloading didn't happen, automatically the effect on the table didn't take place, and therefore that table has no power even if you eat and say Torah on it during the week. Yes, it has a slight effect because you respect it's a mizbeach. However, it doesn't have the sgula of Parasha, it doesn't have the sgula of kaparas avonos, and it does not have the sgula of getting your table in the olam haba ha'elyon. From here we learn bread should be on the table before the entry of Shabbos. So when Shabbos comes already, brushes the lechem and start bringing the brachas of Shabbos. This bread, whatever, you finished it, you put another one, should never be removed from that table. And the behavior to the table is always with divrei Torah, shirim v'sishbachos if you want, sing, but no late sanus, because this called, you whistle to the other 2 there, and they're coming. A person, if he wants to completely unleash it, he should put a pushka on his table. Whenever he sits down to eat, put a quarter, put $1, put something in the pushka. At that point, your table, if you have done Shabbos correctly with 3 meals and behaved on the table, you have nothing to worry. When you sit on it during the week, and you sit on it, bigdusha v'tahara, and you behave on it, you take a cone, you put it in the pushka on the table, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give bracha until your lips will bleed from saying enough is enough is enough. And this, now you let those people who want to do magical thing and hiji-biji stuff to get the muzzle. You go with the way the Torah gave us, simple mitzvahs. We're enjoying ourselves, and at the same time, we're getting a tremendous reward, this world and the next world.